Story I was told about Endy Rodriguez was back in 2020. COVID was happening, and Rodriguez wasn't with the Mets at the alternate training site. They didn't get eyes on him. And over the course of that season and that offseason, the Pirates tried many a time to acquire Endy Rodriguez. They really liked him, and they were convinced that if the Mets got another look at him after COVID, whenever he gets back into pro ball, they would never trade him. So they were really motivated to make that deal, and it came together in the Joe Musgrove trade. It ended up having to be a three-team deal. They got the rights to Joey Lucchesi. They flipped him to the Mets. They got Endy Rodriguez. And for a long period of time, it looked like the Pirates might have had their catcher of the future, especially after that big breakout campaign in 2022. It was at that point where it's like, yeah, the Pirates have a catcher. And there were times these last couple years where you saw Endy play, and you're like, yeah, the Pirates have a catcher. But it's just been the injuries. And now with this latest one, I don't know what his future with the club will be. Good morning, and welcome to Offbeat here on North Shore 9, presented by FanDuel. My name is Alex Stumpf, and this is a daily look at your Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm going to just call this like I see it. This stinks. This stinks. Because Endy Rodriguez is one of the most likable guys who has passed through the Pirates clubhouse the last couple years. He's a talented ball player. I think he calls a good game, manages the staff well. He does a lot of things that you want from a catcher, that you want from a Major League Baseball player. And he has just not been able to stay on the field. There is the elbow surgery in the winter of 2023. There was a follow-up procedure in 2025. And now on Wednesday, the team announced that he had surgery to repair the labrum in his left hip. The expectation is he will return to baseball activities within 7 to 9 months. And you look at the calendar, you do some back of the envelope math. If it's that 9 months, that's a May or June return to baseball activities. There's still going to need to be a build-up, rehab assignments, everything. That doesn't necessarily mean May he's going to be ready. There is a chance that Endy Rodriguez is going to be rehabbing for most of this offseason and first half of next year. And whenever you have a player who is going to be arbitration eligible for the first time, you have to think he's at the very least a non-tender candidate, a potential one right now. Now, I don't think he's going to make a lot of money in this first go through arbitration, so this wouldn't be, like a financial thing. But it is still a spot on the 40-man roster. You can't put him on the 60-day during the winter, and he's going to be hurt. He's going to be rehabbing. He's going to be rehabbing without any contact from the team because of the impending lockout that Rob Manfred is going to impose. It is just a bad situation. They're not going to be able to have contact with him for a portion of this rehab. So it raises the question, what is his future with this team? I'm still, my toxic trait is I will always think that Endy Rodriguez could be part of this catcher room until it's clear that the Pirates have two quality Major League catchers. And whenever you look at Rafael Flores Jr., he's hitting. There's a lot with his defensive game that I think needs to be improved, needs to grow on, but he is ambitious. He is a hard worker. I am confident that he is going to give that the old college try. And Rafael Flores is a right-handed bat, something that this offense doesn't really have. Endy Rodriguez had a really good year in general, but pretty drastic splits for righties and lefties. Now I know in 28 plate appearances against left-handed pitching, it wasn't a lot, but a 130 batting average and 547 on base per OPS, excuse me. 547 OPS does not get the job done. It's a small sample size. I get that. Just look at the eye test. The swing looked a lot better from the left side than it did the right. There were a lot of things that I liked from his offensive profile this year. He hit the ball really hard. He didn't chase that much. Yeah, there were still more strikeouts and more whiffs than you would like. But for someone who hadn't really seen a lot of major league pitching the last 2, 3 years, reasonable. He wasn't doing pitchers a lot of favors. He was able to get more than his fair share of walks. But you looked at it, it's like he's hitting the ball hard. He's having good at bats. I really liked what he was doing with his lower half. I thought, okay, this could be it. This could be the breakout. And then injured list and now surgery. And I'm at this point where I think you have to look at what his future with this club will be if it's not catcher. I don't know if he hits enough to be a first baseman. And even if he did, Spencer Horwitz is pretty good. Maybe he could use a platoon partner, but like we said, Endy wasn't doing that great against left-handed pitching this year. I don't know if he'd be a good candidate for that. You also have to figure that Ryan O'Hearn is going to get more bats at first base next year after he played more outfield than we've ever seen him in the major leagues, and he suffered 2 quad injuries. I don't think that's completely coincidental. So I look at first base as pretty much, unless they make some sort of trade, some sort of move, first base is pretty much spoken for next year, unless unless you can hit lefties. Catcher, I have voiced my concerns about Flores' defense, but the offense has been great. He has shown a lot. If Rafael Flores Jr., if we go into next year and the Pirates say he is part of our equation, I wouldn't bat 2 eyes. Be like, yeah, he's earned that. Assuming he finishes the year the way that he's been playing it so far. Right now, he's earning opportunity. And even Henry Davis, look, I don't know what else is left to say about Henry Davis. We're just repeating ourselves. But at this point, he's a good defensive catcher. He calls a good game. If he's your backup, you don't think twice. And yeah, you can carry 3 catchers. And yeah, you can just say, all right, Endy's going to rehab for a good portion of 2027. And whenever he gets back, maybe he can get rolling. But at that point, you're going to have a guy who has 420 major league plate appearances over parts of 3 seasons. And that includes missing all of 2024. It just comes to a point where I'm not advocating the non-tender. I think that's would be really insensitive to do right now. And I still think he could be a quality major league player, but he is at a point of his career that he's got the fragile label on. You don't have 3 consecutive years where your season is cut short because of injury without that label being placed on you. And if you really want to glass half full it, you can say, look, those were elbow injuries. The elbow was fine this year. The elbow was fine this year. This is just another freak injury. Stuff happens. He's good to go now. And yeah, that could end up being the case. But at some point, how many eggs can you put into that basket? Whenever every single year, the last 3 years, his season has been cut short. This team needs to get more right-handed. I don't know if he helps with that right now. They need some stability behind home plate, I don't know if he can provide that ever. I really liked what I saw this year. That's what really sucks about this, is I really think he was turning the corner. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he can hit enough to be a first baseman somewhere. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that someone who's got a 373 OBP and 840 OPS, is 7 homers and 159 plate appearances. I mean, you put that at first base, if you triple, quadruple those stats, it's like, yeah, that's totally fine. But he is a catcher first at heart, and he hasn't shown that he can handle that every day. His best year in 2022, there was some position bouncing. So it's just a bad situation, and it's someone who, whenever this team was just trying to acquire as much young talent as possible, they identified him early. They really thought here could be someone who could be part of that future. And then he blossoms into a top 100 prospect. The Pirates were right. If the Mets had seen what this guy was going into 2021, I don't know if they trade him. They probably don't trade him for a journeyman, fifth starter lefty. It looked like for a while, whenever the Pirates traded Joe Musgrove and Jameson Taillon and Josh Bell, and they got all these prospects, and not a lot of them, panned out. It's like, well, at least they got Bednar and Endy out of that. And Bednar's gone, and Endy's just never really been able to go. He has had only 1 year where he's had 160 plate appearances in the majors. That's one a day, one a game. And even this year, they started him off in AAA. It was clear, like, he just needs to play. He just needs to play every day. And then whenever he got that opportunity, yeah, he started slow, but as the season went on, he got better. We saw the mechanics come together. We saw him grow, get his timing. I really felt like at the trade deadline, thereabouts, like, there he is. This is Endy Rodriguez. And we got a glimpse of it. And maybe if we never saw it, it'd be different. The reason why the Pirates got Endy was because the Mets never saw it. Guess we got to see it, but I don't know if it makes all that much of a difference right now. We got to see it, but it doesn't all come together here. We will see. We'll see. I like I said, I can't give up on him. Wishing him the best, but his future with the club is very much going to be up in the air for this winter. Thank you so much for listening to Offbeat here on North Shore 9, presented by FanDuel. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe wherever you find podcasts, or check us out on YouTube if you want to see my smiling face. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk again tomorrow.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in, whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube. If you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.